Hey everybody, how's it going? BFA here, today with another World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth video. Today we're checking out the Assassination Rogue. If you want to see other Battle for Azeroth class changes, check out my channel where I have most of the classes covered, and I'm adding a new one every single day. So the Assassination Rogue on the Legion servers is very interesting because the damage breakdown is majorly passive based abilities, things like Poison Bomb, Deadly Poison, and etc. So even though the spec feels like it plays itself, you still have to do certain things to make the spec work. But with this current patch in BFA, it feels like they're trying to push that away from the class and actually make it more maybe bleed based, and try and balance the damage between the bleeds and the poisons. They've also moved some talents around to really mix things up, but the biggest thing seems to be that maybe your energy regeneration might not be as good as the live Legion servers. So firstly we'll go through the basic abilities, then we'll talk about the traits you've lost with your artifact weapon being gone, and then we'll talk about the talents, because there's quite a few changes there also. So the basic abilities haven't changed too much here for the Assassination Rogue. Some big ones are Mutilate, now costs 50 energy, where on live is 55, so this is obviously really nice. You get to cast more Mutilates pretty much because it's cheaper now. Your Deadly Poison on live, or really your Wound Poison also, has a 30% chance to apply on hit. Now it's 50% chance, which means you get the 5 stacks faster for that damage over time, but also those subsequent hit poisons which do more damage also, you get those more often, which is really nice. It also means like Fan of Knives is much more powerful also because you're getting much more poison damage out there, and poison is still a large portion of your damage overall. Next you have Vendetta. Vendetta on live has no GCD, and now it does, which is a change which happens to most classes really. Also you'll note that the urge to kill trait in your weapon, which gives you energy over time plus 60 initial also, is inbuilt, but you don't get the initial hit, so it's like a mini urge to kill, which is really nice though because we do need energy still as an Assassination Rogue. A really big one, which is not so much an ability but your mastery. So your mastery now scales poisons and bleeds, where on live it only scales poison. So this obviously means things like Garrote, things like Rupture do a lot more damage, though they are pretty small in comparison to your poison damage at the end of the day still. But that's obviously with the gear we have here, and we aren't really mastery stacking or anything currently because we don't really have a choice in the beta really. So interesting to see how that plays out there. Maybe we'll see some poison based builds, because there are poison based talents. Sorry, bleed based talents even. Besides that though, everything else is just cooldown changes really. Garrote on live is a 15-second cooldown. Now it is 6 seconds, which has some minor benefits of being able to vanish and Garrote something else, but really not that big of a deal. Sprint cooldown is 2 minutes on live, now it's 1 minute. Cloak of Shadows on the live server has a 1.5 minute cooldown, now it's a 2 minute cooldown. Feint on live has no CD, and it's 50%, when now it has a CD and it's only 40%. But it does have a new animation though, I think, I don't know. On live everyone just spams it, so who knows. Also Wound Poison, we talked about that. Shroud on live is 30 yards, now it's 20 yards, sorry, now it's 30 yards. So you see here the Shroud is massive, which has very little use realistically, but it's nice for engaging on a raid boss. And I guess a bit of a stretch, Venomous Wounds. On live, it says applies on any bleed damage, where now it says only on Garrote and Rupture, and that's because through talents we've actually got a couple more bleed options, so I think they may be trying to want to stop this, might get out of hand, but you notice straight away that we're going to have some massive energy regeneration issues right here. But the basics are still here. You're going to stealth around, open with Garrote, try and get the combo points up to get the Rupture on them. Ignore the proc. And then you just want to use Envenom to fill, really. You do still have that Envenom buff, so you do want to kind of spread these out a little bit here. You don't want back-to-back Envenom if you get off the procs, but we're getting no procs here, so we're going to count. But yeah, still basic gameplay is still there. So let's talk about the artifact weapon and the traits we've lost. So obviously the ability itself, Kingsbane, is now gone. Not that big of a deal, it was just a burst, cooldown, damage over time. Didn't really add any gameplay element to the class, nothing interesting, so it's fine that it's gone, it's just another button you lost, I guess. Surge of Toxins is a bit of a big one, I guess. So after you use a finishing move, so your Rupture and Venom, etc., you used to get 10% damage buff for 5 seconds after. So added that with the Envenom buff, it meant that you had to always delay all your abilities around this buff in many ways. Or, I guess, not delayed, but you'd actually work around it a little bit, I guess you should say. So that's gone now. Balanced Blades is gone also, which gave you at least 16% crit on your mutilate. And when you crit, you do still have Seal Fate, which gives you those extra combo points. So this is pretty massive, actually. It just means you're getting less combo points, which means less ruptures, less envenoms, less good times. Poison Bomb is now a talent, so that's kind of bad, kind of good. Poison Bomb is very controversial, I feel, on the live servers. Either it does no damage because of bad procs, or it does disgusting damage because of good procs and AoE timings and whatnot. So, probably good that's now a talent and actually an option versus a permanent RNG factor to the class. And Master Assassin is gone also. That gave you about 40 seconds off your Vendetta, and that's just at 4 traits, so could go down to like a minute off your cooldown. So that's pretty big, really. It means less burst windows, less energy pseudo also because of the Vendetta energy over time buff there. But that's really it. Not that crazy. The rest are like, you know, more damage on X, which doesn't do anything realistically, and things like sprint cooldown reduction, but sprint is lower anyway now. Cloak of Shadows is even lower on the live server again. Stuff like that. So yeah, nothing really affects the play style, really. Balanced Blades just slows it down, and Surge of Toxins gives you nothing to play around besides the initial Venom buff itself. So let's go through the talents. So for Assassination Rogue, they never changed talents in like a whole raid tier. You look at like Taurus, same talents throughout the whole raid tier. You look at TOS, same talents. You never change them really within each raid tier. And it feels the same here because nothing has been nerfed that people currently pick. The only nerf in a way is Venom Rush and Toxic Blade are on the same line now, but Venom Rush has been completely reworked, so really it's not the same talent anymore. I don't really know the idea behind this because they've kind of nerfed the bleed options. Hemorrhage is now gone, for example, but then they're trying to push bleeds through other talents that they've added, so... And the Marsha rework also. It's a little confusing here. Anyway, we'll go through all the talents here. Master Poisoner is the same as the live server. Really busted. Elaborate Planning has been nerfed. On live it's 12% and 5 seconds. Now it's 10% and 4 seconds. I'm not too sure why they did this because no one picks this anyway on the live server. And after you do a finishing move, you don't do any damage anyway because you've just done your finishing move. So I don't really get it. A new one though is Blindside. This is pretty much an execute. So you do, when they're below 30% health, you can do this big old damage hit, exploit the vulnerability of your foes. But also, similar to say the execute ring for the warrior or Sinister Strike free pistol shots for the outlaw rogue, Mutilate has a chance to make your next Blindside free and usable on any target, any HP. Now the thing is here is that it only generates 1 combo point versus the 2 from Mutilate, but it is 30 energy versus 50. Obviously the crit portion's still there, but it does hit harder also. Let's try to get a proc here. There we go. We'll spend here to shoot the combo points, and then we'll hit it 712. So it did damage. Not a lot, but again, it's not terrible. It is not terrible at all. So it's more damage than a Mutilate, does less combo point generation, but remember, it is free with the proc, and also it is, you know, less energy. Really nice. Not sure if you'd actually use this. Let's say you're at 5 combo points. Would you maybe Blindside for the 6th combo point? That could be interesting. Because, really, this has no cooldown. So at execute range, you could spam this ability over the Mutilate. Be very cool to see how that plays out there, actually. Maybe you do your Spender, you Mutilate, so you get 4 combo points, and you do 2 Blindsides in a row for 6. Something like that. We'll see how it plays out. Very nice talent, though. Adds a proc to the class also, and an execute. 30 is the same, pretty much. Subterfuge, just kidding. So, Night Stalker is... So, level 30 has changed quite a bit also. Night Stalker is the same. Subterfuge on live is 125%, so now it's only 100% damage of Garrote. And Master Assassin is a new one. Master Assassin is pretty much a mini mantle of the Master Assassin. So, that is the... when you stealth and you break it, you do 100% crit chance. Now it's only 50%, where on live it's 5 seconds also, and now it's only 3. This is really good, obviously, because when you open with your stealth, this is going to give you your next mutilate, is going to just give you 4 combat points pretty much, hopefully. Oh, only 3 there. But you see the idea is still there. It is not as good, obviously, as the legendary shoulders, but I don't know, RNG on your opener like that, it's a little bit awkward, but yeah, only 3 seconds, not 5 either. Especially when you have something such a strong ability like Night Stalker. We'll see how it plays out. 45 is mostly the same. Mark for Death is quote-unquote new though, because it used to be level 100, now it's level 45. Also, it now has a 30-second cooldown versus 1 minute on the live server. So that's really, really nice. Means it's actually not as bad if you mess it up, but also means it's usable single target, and still obviously really effective on AoE. 60, the same. 75, there's actually a utility line now because they removed, I can never pronounce it, whatever it was here, the one where you had a reset of Garrote when people died of Garrote on them or whatever. Iron Wire now increases the silence duration of Garrote, which is still pretty powerful for Mythic Plus, and they do less damage while they have Garrote on them, so this is actually not bad. But yeah, that road's its utility pretty much. Level 90, now boys, get ready to panic. Get your poggers out, get your, your feels bad mans out. So, Venom Rush on the live server gives you 3 energy every time Venomous Wounds ticks, pretty much. Venomous Wounds is your passive. When your Rupture or Garrote does damage on a poison target, you get energy back. Now, it's Mutilate refunds 5 energy when used against a poison target. That's a very interesting one. It is definitely a lower energy regeneration on single target than the old Toxic Blade, the Venom Rush is. And on AoE it's even worse, because obviously AoE we're hitting multiple targets of Ruptures there. So this is a massive nerf. It is definitely not a must-have talent. It might work out being usable on single target, but definitely not an AoE talent at all. But most of these are all single target talents on this line, so it makes sense, I guess. Toxic Blade has also been slightly touched, not really. On live it's 35%, now it's 30%, which kind of makes sense because they still want to push the poison damage, obviously, but they want you to be doing a lot more bleed damage, so nerfing this probably puts it more in line, but it still looks very, very powerful, and maybe a must-have still. The thing with the Toxic Blade is that the initial damage is also very high. It's not just like a dot. It's not just like a buff, sorry. It's actual, hey, I'm gonna hit you really bloody hard. Like, this does more than your quote-unquote execute ability. So, yeah, very interesting there. Then, I can never pronounce this, I'm sorry. Exsanguinate? I don't know. Anyway, it's 150% alive, now it's only 100. I'm not too sure here, but I'm pretty sure this has a GCD on live also. But it doesn't. Someone just leave a comment so I know about it. Oh, we'll just rupture this and show it off. Yeah, so that's still there. But they nerfed the poison and they nerfed the bleed. Like, I don't really. This is a nerf realistically because it means you're doing less poison damage because the poisons are staying longer up. It's an interesting one, but the mastery buff there, remember, is increasing bleed damage also. So maybe this is worth using. It just seems... This row is very awkward, I feel now. Because they want you to do bleeds and poison, but you have to choose here. But it's not like it's a smart choice or whatever. It'll be whatever's the best, because they both do the same things pretty much. They both have a cooldown of, 30-ish seconds, 45 here, 25 here. It costs energy. This one does initial damage. So I'm assuming this is going to win. This is hard to mess up also, the Toxic Blade. Venom Rush just sucks now, so this row needs shuffling or reworking or something interesting, because right now I feel really limited on that row. So the 100 level talents here. I'm going to start with the brand new one, Crimson Tempest, because it's an old school ability, it's purely AoE, and it doesn't currently work with your Venomous Wounds, which is the biggest issue. You see here, the tooltip is that when you poison something and then you do bleeds with Rupture or Garrote, you get the energy regeneration. But this isn't Garrote, this isn't Rupture, obviously. and it means it's much weaker than the other ones, because this is purely AoE only. It's a combo point AoE spender, which is very interesting, gives you that AoE potential obviously also. It's probably more sustained AoE than the other options, but the thing with Poison Bomb and Hidden Blades is that they also increase your single target damage. So anyway, we'll show it off here real quick. So we'll try and poison all the targets around, that's why we're saving Fan of Knives. So you can see here, these got poisons on them. Then we'll do this. And our energy regeneration is coming back normally. There's no rupture bonus or corrode bonus there, so it's not working currently. If it does work with the venomous wounds, it could be very, very powerful. It'd mean you get tons of AoE damage, obviously, which means more energy, which means in turn more combo points, which means more Crimson Tempest, which is really good. But right now, it just does not work. It just feels really crap, but is the guarantee AoE option. Because the other option is Hidden Blades. Hidden Blades is a mini Dreadlord's Deceit, which is your legendary. And that one does 35% increased damage of Fan of Knives, up to 30 stacks, where this one is 20% for 20 stacks. So this one's AoE, but it's burst AoE, obviously. You can't spam this, which is obviously a really nice factor there if you don't want to have that. You don't want sustained damage like this, you actually want burst, so you have Hidden Blades. We'll show it off here. It hits bloody hard. Hits way harder than anything else you have in your basic toolkit. So it is definitely worth using this on single target, if you have the option there. Next, Poison Bomb, which used to be one of our traits. On the live server, through the trait anyway, it's 2.5%. Now it's 4% per combo point spent. And it also is only 2 seconds, where on the live server, it is 3 seconds. Now, it is still only on a Venom and Rupture, which doesn't have too many gameplay changes really. It just kind of means if you use a spender, such as, say, sorry, I got a little cough there. You do like a combo point spender, say Kidney Shot. You don't get that chance there, though you'd never Kidney Shot realistically anyway on a boss. But, you know, if you're doing PvP, maybe it could matter there. But yeah, it's obviously an RNG-based AoE line. So the talents, for the most part, I feel they work. They all make sense. You have your damage increases baseline here. Different ways. You have combo point based ones, execute based ones, and much more poison damage. Your stealth based ones, your energy / combo point based ones, utility, poisons and bleeds, minus venom rush, and AoE. But I just feel like at the end of the day, this is going to be the build. You're going to pick this. You're going to pick one of these two probably Night Stalker still. Pick Vigor. Pick whatever you want here. These don't matter. Probably pick Toxic Blade still. And just have some fun. Like it feels like you're not changing very much, which I think is a massive problem. Like the OP builds like this are still viable, still there, and the biggest nerf has been 5% poison damage on Toxic Blade, which doesn't matter because the other option sucks, and this one got nerfed by 50%. Well, like, literally the spell got cut in a third here. This one you lost 5% off is a 7th, so 1/7 of that, which isn't that big of a deal. It's just, I don't know. Like this, another problem I guess also is that the talents don't add much variety to the spec. You're still going to be pressing the same buttons with the talents. All it is now, it's either a cooldown, or it becomes your new filler spell at a certain percentage. If you enjoyed the playstyle, it's still there. It's still probably the most basic rogue playstyle out there. But for me personally, I'm not a fan. Some people might really enjoy it, but just not enough there for me. And I know obviously there's lots of intricacies with the specs, but when I can show you the screenshot and show you this is like, you know, your basic abilities are just those 3 buttons there, plus a Vendetta once in a while, doesn't add enough gameplay for me. But I think that's fine. A lot of these 3 DPS spec classes, like the Rogue, Mage, Hunter, you need to have, or Warlock also, you need to have simple specs. You know, for Mage it's Arcane and semi-Frost in a way, but mainly Arcane. Actually, not really, actually probably Frost. Arcane you can really mess up. BM Hunt is a simple one for that. Affliction is a simple one for the Warlock currently anyway, it feels like. And I guess Assassination is a simple one for the Rogue. But yeah, guys, it still works. Still does poison damage. You'll notice if we did a full-on rotation here that I'll show you one quickly actually. You'll see that a lot of the damage is auto attack now. I'm going to put that down to just scaling while we're leveling up, because we don't have good gear yet, stuff like that. So that could be why. Vendetta here maybe. Yeah, let's go through like a minute rotation here and show it off a bit. I know on live you Venom at 5, but it feels really bad doing it at 5. You guys have these combo points. Not too sure about that. It feels bad anyway. Okay. Well. Rupture Bam, there we go. Poison Bomb tick. We can obviously invis here for the Garrote. Give us more damage on our other abilities here. I kind of wasted a combo point there a little bit. But yeah, guys. Boom. Thanks for watching. Look at the damage breakdown. Where's my auto attack? There it is. Really bloody high. And these are dots, which we have still going. So, really, I'm pretty sure at the time when we stopped, melee was the highest, next to Envenom. But see, dots still do tons of damage. If you're not attacking the boss. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.